So I have a following on like Instagram and TikTok, and we have some Facebook likes. But as far as an email list, we really have never even had, there was like 17 people on our email list. But as far as reaching out to any sort of influencer or anything like that, that's kind of always been a little bit of a challenge to me. So I thought, well, maybe we'll put together like a little pack of like cards that we can like send them, like to court them, like, hey, here's some of our shit. And so that's kind of the path that we're on right now.
Yeah. You have a relationship with your business. Is it a healthy one? Love Line for Business is all about helping entrepreneurs love their work again. Join us on the hot seat and let us stimulate your bottom line.
Well, listen, that was a really, really fun episode. I think you guys are really going to enjoy that. It's not every day that you get someone on who has sort of the same level of both snarkishness and is immature enough to enjoy our sense of humor. And I think with Krista, we really hit the jackpot on both of those.
Yeah, to be honest, I was slightly uncomfortable during the entire interview because I quickly realized that Krista was probably funnier than either of us.
Well, it gives us something to aspire to. If everything is, if we're great at absolutely everything, then what the hell are we going to do with ourselves?
That's true.
What's really interesting about this conversation is how things change the moment that you start having fun. Meaning, when we started talking, it's the conversation sort of started about how come we can't follow the advice we know we should give to others by ourselves, and that can feel a little heavy. But the moment that we moved past that and we were just sort of talking about things to do with the business, everything became really, really fun and light, and all of those problems seemed a lot more surmountable than they did just 5 minutes before.
Yeah. I really like Krista's business because it is all about fun. Like it's a humor-based business, and just to be able to play in that all day, I think sounds like a blast.
I'm so jealous.
So I think that now, especially now with just so much heaviness.
There's so much material.
Well, I was going to say, there's so much material, but there's so much heaviness in the world that what she's offering is an escape and an outlet, for even just a moment or to, remember and recognize that, we can poke fun at ourselves and each other. I just think it's really cool. It sounded like I think she really kind of knew what she should do, but just needed it articulated.
That's right.
By either herself or us. I mean, I don't feel like we shared any deep, incredible insights, but she did seem to come away with this with some good, actionable first steps to do some audience expansion and influencer outreach that she was pretty excited to jump on.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to get on her mailing list. I want to see her snarky cards, and yeah. I'd like the outtakes from her friend, the police officer, telling what it was like to work with Johnny Depp. Please enjoy this very, very entertaining conversation we had with Krista Hilton. And now for a word from our sponsors with another way for you to get unstuck.
Do you work from home but struggle to start the day off right? Are you tired of unexpected interruptions? Is your schedule irregular? Introducing Regular Joe Coffee. When you need a schedule you can count on, take control of your day by adding Regular Joe to your morning routine. When you're working hard to push out a new idea, starting your day with Regular Joe can help you work past blockages and get things moving. To get ahead nowadays, you need to create something with impact. something that will really make a splash. With Regular Joe, you don't have to work quite so hard to get results. Grab a cup, kick up your feet, and take a load off. Regular Joe does the job and has a satisfying, smooth finish. When it's time for you to make the final push, you need Regular Joe. If you'd like to learn more, find us at regularjoecoffee.com.
Well, Greg, do you want to say welcome? Should I say welcome?
You should do it. I think it's your thing.
Well, Krista, welcome to the show. We're very, very happy to have you here. I'm just talking to you before we get started. I'm already I know it's going to be fun. I don't know exactly where this is going to go, but this is going to be fun. So, as we get started, maybe tell us a little bit about what you're up to, and then where you're getting stuck, because I think just about anybody with a pulse can identify with it.
Okay. Well, I, for years, have just done kind of like business coaching, and I had clients before COVID hit that were mostly business owners with like storefronts or in the service industry. And a lot of my clients' businesses had to shut down. So I started doing some self-reflecting, and I was like, well, what do I want to do? Because I liked what I was doing, but I wasn't really in love with it. And I think that because I wasn't in love with it, there was a lot of stuff holding me back as far as like success goes. Because I was like, do I really even want to take off in this arena? Not really. I really don't. So I started a podcast, and that's been like a fun ordeal. And then my sister and I had a greeting card company like 5 years ago that we kind of didn't really do anything with. But recently we were like, maybe we should bring it back and be serious about it this time. So we started reviving that, and we thought we'd do Ryan's book all the way through and just kind of test that out and see like, okay, well, maybe this will help unstuck us in the areas that we were stuck back then. So we've been kind of brainstorming on that end as far as, okay, well, where do we want to sell these? Do we want to be just online? And also looking into other avenues, like maybe we try to hit up like online retailers that like to send thank you cards to their customers or whatever. So I think that's kind of an area I'm stuck in. And then also I really like this podcast thing, but I don't really want to make it my full-time gig necessarily, because I don't want to focus on making money in it at all. I just want it to keep being a fun project. But I think because the two are kind of intertwined, like it just could be a way to shove business towards my other thing, if that makes sense. So I don't know. See, I'm like all over the like squirrel. That's what I am right now.
Yeah, all of it makes perfect sense, and it's there's so much there that I identify so hard with. So what's the advice that you'd give yourself if it wasn't you?
Well, that's funny because I keep asking myself that. And my answer is, you need help, you dummy. Like, look at the areas that you're not excelling in and then just hire somebody to fucking do it for you. Sorry,
you can fucking swear as much as you want.
Okay.
That's all right.
But then it's like, then I have to get organized with exactly what I want them to do. But I think one of the things that I have really lacked in is the networking skills when it comes to online. Because I've been in like sales forever, whether it was service sales or I worked for New York Life. I did insurance. I did like financial. And then I was also a real estate agent like for 100 years. So in-person sales and getting on the phone is like a little bit different than just networking and finding people to like promote your stuff. You know, I don't know. It's just not an area I'm super familiar with. Like the PR aspect isn't really my thing. And I'm not really exactly the most endearing person in the world. So I think I'm having a hard time with that part.
So the advice you'd give yourself is to get some help. And then
Yeah.
you told me all sorts of reasons why you can't possibly get the help. Plus, you'd get the help,
See?
but understand. So, what we talked about this a little bit before we started recording. But if someone were to give you the same kind of bullshit answers that you just gave me, what would you? Because it's obviously resistance. What would you tell them then?
I mean, I'd call them out that it's resistance and then ask them why and try to like figure out why it's resistant.
I'm always fascinated. Why can't we give ourselves therapy? Why do you think that is?
Because we're the ones with the problem. I don't know.
But it's just like the problem of, like, you've helped a whole bunch of businesses get through exactly the same things that you're struggling with, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and you know exactly what to tell them, and you've told people to do things and it's worked, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So can you pretend, can you split your personality and pretend that the person running the greeting card business isn't you?
Yeah, and I've definitely tried that. I think it's so soon, and we just identified like exactly who we want to reach and stuff, and we made a list of the people that we want to reach out to. So we just haven't done it yet because we just finished that. So that needs to just be really carried through and actually done. Part of my problem is, what do I say? Which everybody says that, right? Like we literally just talked about this like on Sunday in Brian's thingy. Like, oh, just say this. Yeah, say that. But I guess it's hard to start a conversation when you don't really know what you have to offer or what you want from the person, right? So that has to be figured out too. I don't know. I've never tried to attract an influencer or anything.
I'm curious. Tell us more about the greeting card company. Tell us about what it is, what are the products like, and who's it for?
So we re-taglined ourselves as positively sarcastic because we started looking at some of our stuff from like 5 years ago and we were like, were we in a dark place? This is pretty dark. Like, only we think this is funny. So we had way too big of a catalog because we were going to try to do wholesale. So we narrowed down the catalog. We went from, I don't even know, 100 different options to like 15 just for now. And we kind of redid it that way. But that's what we're trying to decide right now is, okay, do we want to be in stores or do we want to try to sell this solely online? And we thought, well, while we're doing that, we need to build up our email list so at least have someone to launch to. So I have a following on like Instagram and TikTok, and we have some Facebook likes. But as far as an email list, we really have never even had, there was like 17 people on our email list. So we thought, well, maybe we'll do like a free digital download and then try that's a greeting card that you can cut out and print out at home that would attract our, the buyer that we want to buy our stuff. So then we can advertise that. And then when we launch the full thing, we can actually like, oh, hey, here's our full website and catalog and blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of the path that we're on right now. But as far as reaching out to any sort of influencer or anything like that, that's kind of always been a little bit of a challenge to me. So I thought, well, maybe we'll put together like a little pack of like cards that we can like send them. Like to court them, like, hey, here's some of our shit, and that people that would get our humor.
Okay, so you said
that's where we're at.
Are these kind of like darker humor? I mean, this is not like flowery Hallmark kind of stuff. This is something different.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
this is like what we have a card with like wedding bells on it that says "Don't fuck it up." That kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. So and you basically, you want to build an email list and you're not quite sure, you want to have influencers, but you're not quite sure what your messaging should be to attract the right people, I guess.
Yeah, and not necessarily the right people, like as far as ads and stuff goes. I think we've got that down. But as far as like if we want, somebody to be pimping out our stuff for us, I'm not really sure how to go about that.
How many cards can you guys come up with in a week?
What do you mean come up with?
Like
Produce?
take it, not print, meaning think of an idea, an image, plus the text in a form that you can share, even if it's not like the card yet, but like you can share on social.
Oh, we have like 20 right now.
All right.
So if we needed to come up with a few more, we could, but.
What I would do is, to get your email list, is just send out a card, an e-card every week. Get on the list and you get our snarky e-cards. It's the only way you can get them.
Oh.
And then it starts with 2, and they tell their friends, you heard these weirdos, they send these slightly disturbing cards. Yeah, can you send it to me? Well, the only way you can get them is if you sign up. I can sign you up for it. That's how you can get them.
Ooh, that's a good idea. I didn't even think about that.
And I do the same thing on, that's what I would do on social, is just do the reps of starting getting it out there. And it's a little bit like there isn't that much control over it because it's a matter of getting onto people's radar.
Right.
But if you put yourself out there, then you'll get on people's radar. And your audience will self-select. Like the people that get really offended with that,
they're not going to sign up.
If you're lucky, they will sign up to see exactly how offensive you can possibly get. And if they
really
can take
offensive.
and if they can take that to like the local morality chapter and like have meetings about that, that's even better. Like
it's
if you
even
can get
better.
there's nothing better that could happen than have someone, publicly complain about how
God, I would love that actually. Yeah. I would actually.
So see if you can send it to people that you would really offend.
In your current catalog,
rather than sending it to influencers, think about who you could offend and send it to them.
I've got a twist on that.
Good idea.
Do you have anything available in your current catalog that would be funny to send to an influencer? Just a single card, hand signed by you, something where they're going to open it up and be like confused and maybe a little offended, and then they're like, who the hell are these people? And then they look you up, and if it resonates with them, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I want to work with these people. But just like
I think that's a great idea.
Snarky, like semi-offensive note to somebody who you would want as an influencer. And if they're attracted to the messaging, then they'll contact you back and say, hey, that was a nice card. Thank you.
I'm into that.
And if they're just offended, then like Brand said, if they're completely offended, then the best case is that they still share that about how offended they were by your company. So really the only thing you have to lose is if they say nothing at all, and then you're just out one card and postage.
Yeah. Which like a lot of people are, oh, well, I don't give a fuck what people think. So that's not really, a risk to me. Like if I don't hear from them, it's not, it's whatever. Not afraid of that.
Well, no, I mean, you know that
I like that.
Right. The opposite of love isn't hate. It's just a lack of interest. That's the.
Yeah.
I would go so far as to see if you've got like influencers you really want to get to, is find out who are 5 or 10 of their friends.
Oh.
And send them cards as well, so they can talk to each other about the weird cards they got.
Okay.
Because then even if they don't mention it, like they're an influencer, right? That's their job. That's their jam, and they get products shoved in their face all the time in the hope that they out of the goodness of their heart, they just want to influence a way for you. But if their friends start to say, I got this really fucked up card the other day. Wait a minute, so did I. And then it becomes a thing.
I like that.
Like maybe you can come up like, even like make up stuff that's like semi-offensive stuff about influencing.
Ooh, that's good.
Like not even a card I don't know. I mean, there's so much stuff around like the usual things, but there's a lot of work that we do that there's no cards for.
Oh, that is very true. Like think outside of the box.
Where are the podcasting cards?
Oh God, right? So many things about podcasters.
What about a
Don't
card
get me started.
that said, "Hey, I sent you this card because Facebook doesn't have a middle finger reaction." This is in reference to your post last Tuesday, September 16th. Just wanted you to know how I felt.
Oh, you're warming up, Greg. This is good.
Oh, that's really good. I love
What
that.
else you got?
I mean, there's probably stuff out there where people would be compelled, right, to spend
Yes.
some money to send a physical card to just
Oh, yeah.
slam a point home like that, right?
Yes. We do have a card with a bunch of middle fingers like collaged on it. I could write something on the inside.
Yeah.
Or like a little box on the outside with that like graphic. That'd be fun.
Yeah. And there must be someone who did like a white on blue middle finger.
Yes. Yes. Huh. That's a good one.
All right. Well, that feels like, that
Right.
doesn't feel heavy, does it?
No, that feels really easy and fun.
Okay. So we've figured out how to talk to influencers.
Okay.
What else? What else is stuck?
I think just like knowing what direction to go as far as sales go with something that's costs so little. Like we want to eventually have like, okay, so we'll have our cards, but then we want to have like ribbon and maybe gift wrap or bags so you can buy like the whole pack.
Mhm.
But then, when do we add that and do we see how that goes? And,
You know what I would suggest? Instead of, you can have people order like a package of, let's say, 20 cards, right? And they show up and then they send them out. You could also consider offering a service where you mail the card for them. So somebody goes online, they type in the message, they type in the receiver address, they pay for it, and you can charge. Think about like flower delivery services. Like there's like a delivery, like a massive delivery surcharge, but people just want it done. Like they don't want to have to. And also if somebody's sending this, I can see people deciding to send one of these, like if they're in a fit of rage, or maybe they've had like 3 beers that night and then they come across your website. So it'd be nice to capture that intent while it exists, because I imagine that 24 hours later, some people may change their mind about wanting to send what they were going to send.
It might be as few as 7, Greg,
so
hours later.
Yeah. So to capture that buyer intent when it exists, I think is useful. To take a step back, though, I think you'll probably have to consider if that's a good idea or not to let somebody send like one of these cards, like in one of those other states of thought.
True. We had we built a website a few years. It was actually during the last presidential election. We were like, oh, it'd be fun to have a website where people could just send a middle finger to someone anonymously, kind of like sending them like the dick cards or the package of dicks or whatever. But we're like, it was called You Got the Finger. Anyways, that was kind of fun. It lasted for a second. We didn't really do much with it, but kind of the same concept.
Listen, there's elections every 2 years. I think there's an endless amount of times where people want to send their best friends, information about how much they disagree with their choices.
Especially now. Woo!
Yeah. So
I think it's always, you know what, to be perfectly honest, I think that was always true. And there's something delicious about being able to tell someone that you think that their choices are fucked up without having to actually have the conversation. You just want to, feel, superior for long enough about the
just
fact
for a
that
minute.
your choice, for a minute, and let them know about it.
Like, you know what? I think you're a fucking idiot, but I love you anyways.
That's right.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, that's very large of you.
Yeah.
So Krista, you mentioned that you've toyed with different ideas basically of how to boost that cart value, how to boost that average order price.
Yeah.
Because a greeting card is typically not terribly expensive as a single item.
Right.
So, and you mentioned like add-ons. So I want to kind of explore that a little bit more, because I do agree that if you do like a direct to consumer model, that one of the keys to success is going to be making sure that you have good average order values with good margins so that you can, push out the message easier.
Right.
So talk a little bit about kind of the ideas you have for how to do bundles and add-ons and how you intend to offer these.
Right. So my sister has been sourcing different stuff. She's went to school for manufacturing. So she's kind of got the sourcing stuff on that end as far as how much things will cost to get for, if we do like wrapping paper and ribbon and a card. And I don't really know what those are at this moment because she's putting that together. So we did discuss just sending it like, you can buy a pack of whatever so it'll match and then it can go. But then the other day I was talking to one of my dude friends and he's like, I always just order stuff on Amazon that I can have like make sure that it's wrapped when it's shipped. Like, oh, like, I don't want to fucking wrap a present. It's like, well, what if we were more of a wholesale type and part of our networking to get our names out there would be to try to get our wrapping paper or our cards to be those ones that those companies are sending. But I don't know what that really looks like. So that was just an idea that I had the other day.
Okay.
So maybe, you could play around with that. What I was thinking of is, if you can catch someone who's doing like weird dolls, like when Ugly Dolls started, what was it, 10, 15 years ago, and they only had them in two places and it was actually a thing. See if you can hook up with those kind of people. And it's sort of a way of doing like trying out a little project, like going on a business date, like if you to see if you like working together. So whether that's you offering, okay, you can buy the cards, but you can also buy like this weird paraphernalia from someone. Like we curated this really weird a maker out from, I don't know, wherever they sit. Buy a card and also get these weird buttons or this weird doll or whatever. Yeah. These weird playing cards. Something that's sort of in line with your humor and is sort of strange and offbeat. And then if that takes off, then now maybe what they do when they sell on their store, when they have a wrapping option, they have your wrapping paper and they stock a bunch of your cards, and then start doing like those kind of relationships where you're offering their stuff as add-ons on yours, and then it becomes natural for your stuff to be add-ons on theirs.
I have two thoughts.
I like that idea.
There are two websites I know of where product creators can offer their products on a marketplace to other retailers. So one of them is called Tundra, and they basically they're a platform where e-commerce sellers can go and find other products to add to their stores. And so you might be able to put your brand up there, and other e-commerce sellers could come across your products and say, oh man, that would be cool. Like if it kind of fits with their product and their niche, they might decide that offering like one of your cards and wrapping paper would be like a really awesome add-on for one of their purchases, right? If they were going to like pre-gift wrap it. So you could do that. There's another website that I learned about in the 1% from someone else called Range Me. And you can basically create a listing for your brand on that website, and retail buyers check that out. Like some of the buyers for like big box retail stores, like one lady in the group was contacted by Walmart to give Walmart a pitch for her product, and they found her on this site.
Oh,
so that
interesting.
I'm exploring that actually for my dad's salsa company. We're going to see if we can put his products up on that site and see if he can get more. He's having a lot of success with like small kind of independent store retail. And so if he was able to snag a big chain, like that would be huge for him. So
Cool.
that's 2. And then 3, I really think your product, again, it would be a really cool add-on for other e-commerce sellers to offer like gift packaging, especially during the holidays. And you have, I mean, you're in a group of like 750 other people who all are in different stages of building an e-commerce brand. So I'd go in the group and say, hey, you know, we want to offer this to you guys. If you think this would be a valuable add-on as an option for your products, you know, shoot me a line and we can set something up. But I mean, of the 750 people in there, I mean, even if you got like 5 or 10, that could be pretty huge, right?
Yeah, totally.
So I would
idea.
explore that as well.
Cool. I like that idea. Might as well utilize the old group.
Absolutely. And it's a value add for them. I mean, if they see your products and they're like, oh man, that's great. I could charge like, you know, an extra 10 or $15 for this really funny customized, you know, gift card and packaging. Like it's a benefit to them. It's a benefit for their customer because it's like personalized and customized now. And it just gives you a ton of exposure.
I like that. It's a good idea.
Cool.
Sweet.
Ram, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, okay, so the way that we usually take these conversations is we sort of, I mean, I think you already knew what you needed to do. You had all of your advice sort of lined up, and what it really takes is sort of catalyzing things. And it's, I think the most difficult thing for Greg and I is like getting into the right conversations where we walk away. We've basically been saying the same thing that's been in our head for months, but saying it to someone else, then suddenly everything sort of falls into place and makes sense. But taking your experience of telling people what to do and like, you know, what's like the next steps, and that's really easy. What's, you know, what we've discussed so far, what would you go ahead and implement like right now?
I would probably, since I already kind of have a list of people that I'd like to send a card to, I'd probably do that very, very first, and then put together some sort of a really good package to then present to the group for that idea. As far as, because holidays are coming, so that kind of needs to happen like fast if we're going to do that, since sales are going to start going up for everyone.
Right. I think you need your email list as soon as you possibly can.
Oh, well, yes, that too. That's
Just
being
have that
actively
up.
worked on right now.
Right. Yeah.
But I like your idea of doing like the weekly Starkey card in your inbox. That's amazing.
That's it, and nothing more, because everybody's inboxes are so inundated with look at me, I'm really important, I'm now going to, you know, force you to read all of this text from me, I'm really important, look at me, as opposed to here's 5 seconds of a relief and you're going to feel great about it, and then the next time you need something snarky, you're going to think of me. That's it.
It's really brilliant,
Totally.
actually. I mean,
I love it.
if it's daily or weekly or, you know, whatever the frequency works out, it keeps you top of mind. And that subject line, like in the rest of their inbox, you know, your subject line, where it's going to stand out, right? It's not going to be, it's going to be different than all those other subject lines, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a really good pattern interrupt. And I imagine that people will open that up and they'll chuckle, and probably very often they'll think of somebody, like 3 people that they need to share that with right now. Right. And that message gets forwarded on. I can see how this would work in my own life, right? When I'm going through my emails in the morning, that'd be one that I stopped on to just to take a break from the rest of the content that's always like flooding through our inboxes, channels.
Yeah. I feel like I'm constantly going through my inbox and like unsubscribe. And I think that takes over in my mind so much that when I think about all like doing regular emails, I'm like,
yeah,
you know,
I have the same problem. I really do.
I think that's a great idea.
But every time I send emails, like I get good results. You know,
they work.
It works.
Yeah. Oh, they work. Yeah.
And
they work.
I really think that because yours is substantially different than the rest of what people are getting, like you have a huge leg up, because you're not in the everybody else's inbox rush where they're just trying to get somebody to open it up, and it's just a whole different game. I think you can have a lot of fun with that and get a lot of,
I think so too,
kind of like stealth reach by sharing of emails than most brands. Like, I don't forward brand emails to anybody. Like if somebody sends me like a 20% off sale, like I'm not sending that to anybody else. No. But there are emails I do share. Like if I get really, really good, like, copywriting or content emails, I'll share it with Bram and he'll share stuff with me. But, if I see something really funny or snarky, like I'll think of a few friends that need to see that right now. And it's just
never with me.
Well, we'll see. I'm going to get on Krista's list now.
All right.
You will soon.
It reminds me of when we were talking to Chantal a couple of weeks ago, Greg, and she's talking about the difference between her likes and her reach. So Chantal has a group for it's all sorts of activities for really early childhood. And she publishes all sorts of like these activity packs and stuff that people can use. She has, I don't know, a couple tens of thousands of likes to her page, but she reaches like close to 1 million people every month. And the reason she does that is because her content is so shareable. It's something that I've been trying to figure out how to implement. But I think, that's part of why the idea of doing something like a snarky email that's easy to forward would be really, really effective.
Yeah.
Because your list might be like 1,000 people, but now if everybody sends it to 5 of their friends, you suddenly reached 5,000 people.
Totally. Yeah, that's a great idea. I could actually implement that for my podcast too, in a way, because,
So now
really
tell us.
Let's talk about the podcast next.
Tell us about the podcast.
It's called Drunk Politics, and we talk about the stuff that's going on right now, but we also are planning on making it kind of a show, like a little mini show, kind of like Drunk History, but explaining things that people don't normally get, like America's a republic, here's why. But making it fun, because most of the stuff you read around that is either really partisan or really boring.
Or both.
Yeah, cool. We're both, mostly both. I really like politics, but I also don't think that we need to be super smart when we're talking about it. I mean, we're all smart, but if I want to call somebody a fucking idiot, I'm going to do that. And if I think, I don't know, I'm more of a libertarian. I really believe in capitalism. And I just don't, I think that both extreme sides have just completely lost it. And I know that there has to be other people out there that feel that way. So, and I've been able to reach a decent amount. I played around on TikTok with growing it's like, I'm going to see if I can grow an audience of Trump supporters really fast. I did. They're like a cult, obviously. But it's been pretty fun because it's a little bit different. But there's what I've noticed in that is that there's a lot more people in the middle than there are extreme on both sides that just are kind of being forgotten about. There's some people that like totally believe in abortion, but also, are, consider themselves more on the conservative side because the center seems like it's been completely lost. So that's kind of more of our reach.
Interesting. After the show, send us a link.
Okay.
We definitely, I think, both know people who would be interested in that. And I think that's a really, really good kind of like market or niche to get into because politics is really like, it's divisive and kind of like this lightning rod kind of thing. But the brands that are able to kind of like poke fun at it to kind of diffuse things, again, it's incredibly shareable and relatable. Like I'm thinking of, do you guys know Bad Lip Reading? They have this YouTube channel. I love it. I love it.
So good. It's so
And
good.
what struck me last presidential cycle, they did some for both sides, but it was so funny because with some of the candidates, you couldn't tell that it was a bad lip reading. Like the gibberish that was coming out actually sounded very similar to the actual gibberish coming out. So I just got a kick out of them. We've watched a few videos so when we're teaching our kids about politics, we don't watch debates or anything. It's all bad lip reading. So we want to make sure that we're presenting things in the right way. So,
That's so funny.
The rest is fake news. Anyway.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll be interested to check out Drunk Politics, you said?
Drug politics. Yeah, I don't really watch the news. What I do is I watch C-SPAN and I watch like the actual congressional floor because I think that's interesting because I'm nerdy. But it's always interesting then catching making sure I watch like a Tucker Carlson and then like a Don Lemon and see kind of how they're presenting both presenting this information that was given.
Absolutely.
It's so funny.
It's interesting. My background is science, and I always thought it was so funny the way that the way that the media would portray like some discovery or some study, because it's like a game of telephone. Like the person reporting has no idea what they're talking about.
No clue.
They're just like, and so very often, they're trying to convey some conclusion, which isn't actually what the conclusion was, but it's like a better soundbite or it's a more clickable headline. And I think politics is the same sometimes. Like sometimes the media portrayal of what's going on in politics is different than what's actually going on. But again, like the media is an industry who, their ads
needs to sell.
Yeah,
needs to sell ads.
Their revenue depends
Very
on
simple.
People consuming the content, so they make the content consumable and not necessarily, conveying directly what the source material is.
Right.
So,
well, it's like so much. It's like probably everything else. It's and that's the question that always comes up when you talk about people. The two extremes being what they are, extremes. But then the question is, why does the majority that sits in the middle put up with this shit?
Right. That's the ultimate question. It's like, hold on, wait a minute. And I think a lot of that is being answered in the fact that like most of the ratings are like
right.
totally down, because everybody's like, are you joking?
Yeah. It's
exactly
interesting
right.
to watch. Well, very cool. Well, I will tune into the podcast. I think that sounds interesting.
Yeah. We just did an interview that was really good with one of my friends who was a police officer for years. He worked with a drug unit. He went undercover for a few years in a couple different police departments. And then he also now he goes and teaches other governments how to defend themselves. And he's really high up, has like a black passport. Anyways, he had to be anonymous, but he had a lot of really cool stuff to say. So I'll send you guys that one to listen to.
Did he work with Johnny Depp?
Totally.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the podcast. I want to see your snarky cards.
That is going to be fun.
Strong.
You guys, that was a big help. Thanks.
Krista, can you share with our listeners where they can find your cards?
Well, we're redoing our website right now, but there's a landing page. It's justchasingpaper.com.
Okay. Justchasingpaper.com.
Yeah, we also have a Facebook page, Just Chasing Paper.
Okay.
You can like that. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Let us know when you're live.
Yeah, and an Instagram page, I guess. We have
awesome.
that too.
Bram and I have spoken many times about what's our best outreach method for other influencers. So maybe we'll try some of your cards.
Oh, yeah, that would be amazing.
I can think of some.
Could definitely provide you with those.
Awesome. We should. What do you think, Bram? Should we try to get a hold of Grant Cardone?
Oh, yes. I think we should. Yes. I mean, if you want to make your business big, you got to Cardone it.
Of course.
All right.
There's so much I could do. Listen, if you ever want to go into a line of Cardone-based cards, I'm the man. I have so much material for you.
I'd be really into that, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure you would be.
Actually,
Cardone's a gift that just keeps on giving.
maybe this is maybe an aside for down the road, but I have a friend who had a product out who an influencer saw and became really interested in, and they collaborated and they created a special version of the product for the influencer. Then the influencer went out and so, as you start reaching out to people, that's maybe a possibility. If you come across an influencer who loves your stuff, maybe they want to collaborate and do like an exclusive line that's like, their face or some of their snarky quotes that their followers could send to one another or something like that. It would just another possibility to expand.
I like that.
A whole series on Ellen DeGeneres giving HR advice.
Bram, you're on fire, man.
Done, Greg. Yeah. Better wrap this up.
Gold.
All right.
It's gold.
Krista, this was awesome. This was a lot of fun. We'll have to stay in touch because I think I like what you're doing.
I see more giggling in our future.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm going to add you guys to my email list.
Please do.
Please do.
All right.
Well, Krista, thanks for your time today. And
thanks for having me.
We'll see you inside the group.
I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
Bye.
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 Hey guys, it's Bram. If you really enjoyed that episode, it would mean a lot to us if you were to leave us a review. Just go on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else you're listening to this and leave us your honest opinion. Thank you.
Yeah. Just like that. Yeah.
Speaking of coughing, I ran to the grocery store before our recording and was walking down the chips aisle, making my way to the dairy case. Mm-hmm. And there was an employee of the store stocking the chips with this nasty ass, like mucusy, raspy cough.
Oh.
And he was like trying to suppress it.
So, yeah. Delicious.
I'm like, dude.
I mean, this is like troubling in the best of days.
People are dropping dead in the streets.
Yeah.
Left and right. And you come to work sick, man?
Yeah.
Anyways.
You remember those movies coming out of Wuhan, or people dying in the streets? It's only a matter of time before it happens here.